differentiated weight
Yes.
to the criteria.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right.
Do you have anything to say?
Is that what you were trying to say, or is it different?
I think that in the detail, I read that these four criteria have the same score, okay, four score. So I think that if two applicants have the same score, we will think that what the criterion is more important. Such as if they have the same 14 score, just maybe one criterion of criterion of applicant have higher than the another. So we will consider that what the criteria is more important.
Yeah,
Okay.
reading the criteria.
Can you give us an example?
Okay.
We talked about.
Okay. So maybe I think one.
Sorry.
No. And I have a question. Like registration policy, isn't that different for each community? Like, so don't
Is it because they're trying to say if they actually fulfill the registration policy of ICANN?
won't most of them get?
Okay, so maybe like what we have discussed, we can give different weightage to it. It's just like how we do our university, right? There's like core modules that you get like double credits, right? So maybe we can give weightage to it. So maybe out of the four, we can rank it them now. Okay?
Okay.
So yeah, let's go through and rank them now. So community endorsement, do you think it's important? Actually, community-based applicant, I think is quite important to have community endorsement.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I do, but
But
I
maybe
think
not before.
establishment.
not a high priority.
Yeah, not a high priority. Okay, so maybe let's put it at number 2 now.
Okay.
Okay, let's just give a position. We can shift that later. Okay, so community establishment.
I think that's.
How can we measure
Okay.
it? How
Can we maybe discuss about community establishment of this? For this, I'm not quite sure about how we want to. What is the definition for community establishment?
Explicitly identify and define according to statements in the application. The community must be well defined
Well defined.
and identified. That means it must be
Doesn't say-
specific.
Doesn't
Okay.
say how well defined it is, like how many people know it, or
I
which
think
regions know
I think
about
it's
it.
trying to say, for example, like the Power Woman shop, right? It helps the women with HIV to get employment. So maybe it's like well defined. As in this case, the beneficiary would be the women with HIV. So this is the community establishment. But like what you say, we cannot. There is actually no measurement for how important or not it is, because this is qualitative and not quantitative. So this part maybe do we want to put it as number 3 first?
I
So
would
what?
like to put
We have
it
to-
higher.
Higher than the
Higher.
yes,
Identification
so we
would probably
put-
be.
the highest.
Yeah.
Go.
Sorry.
I think identification, community establishment have to be quite important.
Okay, so now we will put it on second, or you want put it first?
First.
Yes.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah.
So we put it as first. Just now we put it as second. Okay, registration policies.
I think that should be at the very
Registration policy.
bottom. Like, if you qualify for the minimum.
You can search it online. Go find the guidelines for community string contention.
Okay.
And then they have the new, okay, ICANN actually has the new GTLD, the glossary online also. So maybe if you are unclear of any of the terms, we can actually refer back to ICANN's website on the glossary. Yeah.
Instead of referring, can you define the registration
Those are also
policy?
new.
Registration policies are the conditions that the future registry will set for prospective registrants.
Example?
So how they
You know the
intend
thing
to.
about ICANN is that they love to have so many words just to confuse the community.
Okay, I think
It's a legal operationalization. So they actually need to be quite specific or quite vague, depending on what they want to use it for.
I think the purpose for implementing the registration policies is to ensure sustainability of this GTLD. Because if you are going to have the structures in place, this will ensure the sustainability. If not, why would I grant you a GTLD at such a high cost and then you end up in a mess? So that would be detrimental to both sides.
So that is registration policies. That's
Yes.
what I'm
So
saying.
that means there should be structure or
There are conditions for
proposed structures in place.
Right. So that means there is so many policies to follow
So let's say you have
to be an applicant. Is that what it is?
Okay, like for
registrant. So registrant buys the they are the ones who sell the domains, right? Like the domain names. So the registry they sometimes have certain criteria. So let's say .soccer will be only they want to buy, the registry wants to buy .soccer. So they so that they can sell it to people who are interested in soccer. So that is their condition for the policy. So based on that, then they decide whether you get higher points or not.
Nice.
Okay.
That's a
This is
good
legal
example.
framework.
Clear.
Should we put
Okay,
that
next.
above higher?
No, that's number 3, right? Registration policy.
Okay, like
Let's
for
put it number
example,
3.
I'm from the registry of South Africa for .za. Like one of the registration policies that you all could refer to is actually that for my registry, we actually have an alternate dispute resolution process in place. Yeah, this would actually be more.
The registration policy.
Yes, okay. Because it will be a faster and cheaper dispute resolution before we reach to a higher level. So that means at my level, I would have an alternative dispute resolution in place for them. And that is what I have now as .c.
So it basically is more like a check, internal check for that registry to make sure that it will survive for very long.
Yes, I think
and
it's for the
that it can
sustainability of it.
sustain itself.
Yes.
That's what it is.
The higher weightage within that category of registration policy is more of the idea of how restrictive it is in selling out its domains. In the sense that .soccer, if my soccer community is very small, if the world soccer community is very small, then that means my community that I'm supposed to represent is actually is restricted, is smaller than what it's supposed to be. So that's actually 2 questions along the evaluation guidelines.
Okay.
So her point also was inside the fact that
Yes.
So I think if we put establishment first, it means that we're basing
We are
it
a
on
community, yes.
how like embedded we are. But if we are putting the registration policy first, it means we have the rules. So maybe even well
Okay, but
established.
maybe we go back to the question again. This is on the application for
Maybe,
the new GTL.
maybe make it number 2 and then
Okay, and
condense,
then-
and then the other one goes to number 3. Yes, right, that makes sense. Yes. This one says that it is established. This one makes sure that it will survive,
Okay.
and the other one
So
is just
we
a
recap again. So we will rank at number 1,
Yeah.
the community establishment. Okay. Number 2, registration policy. Number 3, community endorsement. Okay. Now comes the 4th point. Nexus between the proposed stream and community.
Sorry?
Nexus between proposed stream and community.
Do they have
If you
definition of
qualify for 1, 2,
First one
3,
must be
then I
very
guess you
easy.
have next.
Yes. Okay, I think because the nexus will come in when you have the community establishment
Yes.
and the support, which is
That's right.
the endorsement.
Yes.
So actually, do you all mind putting it as number 4?
Yeah.
Or you all have,
problem.
or because we got no
Let's
choice,
go
then
for
we
it.
just 4.
I think that's the current what's happening.
Let's go for it.
Because now that's what's happening. The 4.
Okay, so now we have started the ranking.
Yeah.
Are we going to give it a weightage?
Yeah. Isn't that ranking?
Yes. Okay, so what kind
But
of
you know,
weightage do you
Ken
want
has
to
a
give?
point
Yo-
if we're ranking it. Sorry, he was just saying that if we're ranking and we put community establishment first,
Yeah.
it's very hard to determine. So it'll be very difficult to go beyond that. So like your first criteria, as important, should also be easy to determine.
Yes.
If that's what we're doing to
I
for a
don't think
deadlock.
establishment is hard to.
Okay, hold on.
But then if you put registration policy first,
No, I'm not saying we should put it first.
No,
I'm
no,
just saying that we should think about how easy or difficult it is to establish a
Okay,
community.
my point. Okay. If you put if let's say for example, if we are going to put a double weightage on the first criteria, so it makes it hard for them to score, right? But you get a double weightage, so it's easier for us to differentiate the winners.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
But let's say if our first criteria is the easy one, I give it a double weightage. Everybody gets a double weightage, and we might have a very close contention at the end again.
The reason why establishment should be number 1 is that I've seen grant applications for community, and one of the main criteria is that you have to be a community. So for myself, if I'm applying myself as the only community, they will definitely see that as you're not representing a community. So why should you be defined as a community when you don't have a couple of people following yourself? You know, so that's how you define community. So that's why I say established means that you have already had a number of people following you for, let's say, at least 5 years or something like that. And we can see that as a very established community.
Actually, what you said, he basically was suggesting to me yesterday. Legitimacy.
legitimacy.
Yeah, you have to justify why you're applying for a GTLD
Exactly.
rather than a sub-level domain.
But that's a different thing, right?
I guess if
But-
you have legitimacy in the community,
Yes.
then it'll
Then
be
it
easier
is
for you to
established.
go over the regulations. And even though you get lower scores on the regulation, since establishment is weighted high, we're basically evaluation on the fact that you have how much legitimacy, how much justification you have in the community.
Okay, I think she has a point because of this community priority evaluation. The point of it is to actually substantiate to substantiate why you're a community-based applicant.
It is.
Yeah.
That's right. That's the main purpose. Find out if it is actually a community.
But we are GAG and CCNSO and we cannot proceed with any disagreement, so can we come to a consensus?
Yeah. Consensus. Agree. Totally agree. Tot Fiji.
That is unacceptable of GAG. We are all together.
For the first time in history, GAG accepted an endorsement.
Okay, can I explain? No worry.
Oh, thought the US don't like it. What is it?
Aren't you Israel?
Yeah, I know it's not. Obama is still the president.
Can you explain again?
Sorry?
No, you said. No worry.
No, what I'm saying is that we already endorsed this, right? We are moving forward with what she just mentioned. Are you agree with it, thought the US?
So what's the proposal again?
Okay.
Yeah.
Our proposal is to rank community establishment first. Registration policy. Okay, community establishment first is because we want to identify the impact that it has to the community.
Exactly.
Yes, we want to have a clear delineation of the community that it has impact to the benefits. So in short, number one, benefits. Number two, registration policies. In short, sustainability for my new GTL.
That's right.
Number three, community endorsement.
Endorsement, yes.
So number three is support from my community.
Community,
Yes,
yeah.
I think this is quite important. Yeah, and then number four, which is the nexus between proposed string and community, which is
will come
quite a
naturally.
natural outcome of the 1, 2, and 3.
Correlation.
Yeah.
So,
I think, sorry, I just one concern. Number three, putting community endorsement might be a problem because we are more of a participative process.